If this kind of psychology content helps you understand yourself more deeply, consider subscribing. This channel is for people who've always felt a little different. If you've always felt like the black sheep, you didn't need anyone to tell. You sensed it early, in the way conversations went quiet when you spoke, the looks you couldn't explain, the feeling that no matter how hard you tried, you never quite fit the role that was expected of you. You weren't trying to stand out, you just didn't blend in. And for a long time, that difference may have felt like a problem. Psychology doesn't see the black sheep as someone who failed to belong. It sees someone who developed differently in response to their environment before. Explaining why this matters. Feeling like the black sheep does not mean you are difficult, dramatic, or broken. It usually means your nervous system, values, or awareness didn't align with the system you were in. That misalignment leaves a mark. One of the most common psychological patterns of the black sheep is heightened sensitivity to inconsistency. You notice things others ignored, contradictions between words and actions, emotions that were present but never acknowledged. Psychology shows that when a person grows up in an environment where unspoken rules matter more than honesty, the one who notices the mismatch often becomes labeled as the problem, not because they created tension, but because they exposed it. Your brain learned to scan for truth early. That awareness may have made you quieter, more observant, or more cautious about what you shared. It wasn't rebellion, it was perception. Another common pattern is emotional independence. Many black sheep learn early that validation won't come easily, so you stop seeking it. Psychology explains that when belonging feels conditional, the mind adapts by becoming internally anchored. You develop your own standards, your own moral compass, your own sense of right and wrong. As an adult, this can look like detachment or self-sufficiency, but underneath it is a learned understanding. Approval isn't always safe or reliable. You learn to trust yourself first. The third pattern is a low tolerance for superficial connection. You may have noticed that you disengage quickly from shallow conversations or performative relationships. Psychology suggests that people who felt misunderstood early often crave depth later, not drama, not intensity. Depth. You don't want to play roles, you want real interaction, and when that isn't available, you would rather be alone than pretend. This preference isn't antisocial, it's selective. The fourth pattern is a strong sense of justice or fairness. Many people who feel like the black sheep are deeply affected by imbalance, favoritism, double standards, unspoken hierarchies. Psychology shows that when someone grows up feeling unfairly positioned, their awareness of injustice sharpens. You notice when someone is dismissed, when power is misused, when truth is bent for comfort. This sensitivity can make you seem confrontational or too much. But in reality, it reflects a nervous system that learned early how damaging silence can be. The fifth pattern is early emotional maturity. If you felt like the black sheep, you may have grown up faster internally. You learned to self-regulate, to read the room, to anticipate reactions. Psychology explains that emotional maturity often develops when a child senses they must adapt to survive emotionally as an adult. This can look like calmness, restraint, or emotional control, but it can also come with fatigue. You've been managing yourself for a long time. Here's the turning point. Most people never reach. Being the black sheep doesn't mean you were meant to be excluded. It means your system developed in a way that didn't support conformity. The shift happens when you stop asking, "Why don't I belong here?" and start asking, "What does my difference allow me to see?" That question reframes everything. It turns alienation into information. It turns distance into insight. Psychology shows that black sheep often become the ones who think differently, live authentically, and question patterns others accept without reflection. Not because they wanted to be different, but because they couldn't unsee what they saw. The resolution isn't about proving yourself or forcing acceptance. It's about understanding that belonging doesn't require shrinking or reshaping who you are. You don't need every environment to validate you. You need the right ones. Emotional clarity comes when you realize that being different was never the failure. Trying to suppress it was. If you've always felt like the black sheep, it doesn't mean you were out of place in life. It means you were out of place in a system that didn't know what to do with awareness, honesty, or depth. That doesn't make you wrong, that makes you early. And when you see it that way, the story changes, not into something dramatic, but into something grounded, because sometimes psychology doesn't tell you who to become. It simply explains who you've been all along.